Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. And today is Wednesday, January 4th, 2023, and we're here for a town board meeting and also a CDA meeting. As always, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Tim, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. And Frank, do we have someone from the faith community?
We do. I was scanning the audience, and I did come across the Reverend Andrew Montaro from the Community Baptist Church. Thank you for being with us today, Reverend.
Thank you for the privilege of being here. Let's open in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, as we just come before you in this new year, we thank you for life. We thank you for another opportunity, just another year. We pray, Lord, as we begin this new year, we come to you first. We ask for wisdom. Lord, we know that you have the answers for the problems that are facing our community and our society. We pray that we would seek your wisdom, seek your guidance, and that you would lead us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Great. Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Reverend. But I also want to make a point that we have Deacon Mike here, and he is the chaplain for both the fire department and the PD. And maybe someday you can open up with our prayer, okay? So call us up and we'll put you in for that. I know you would enjoy that. And before we move forward with our regular meeting today, I am pleased to call resolution number 2023-43 out of sequence so we can perform the related swearing in. I will now open it up to public comments on that resolution to appoint a probationary police officer to the Riverhead Police Department. Does anyone from the audience want to come forward and comment on that specific resolution? Hearing no one, Diane, can you please call the resolution? Oh, not Diane, look at this. So used to seeing her there. She would tell me, nobody's online, right?
Resolution 43.
Hold on. Chip, nobody's online, it's to appoint a police officer, yeah. Yep.
Appoint a probationary police officer to the Riverhead Police Department. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern. Yes. Rothwell.
Welcome aboard, yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, and please be safe, and can, Officer Weiss, probationary Officer Weiss, please come forward. You guys can come up. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the State of New York, the Constitution of the United States, and faithfully discharge your duties as a full-time Riverhead police officer to the best of your abilities?
I do.
So help you God. Congratulations, Officer Weiss, and please be safe.
Thank you. Well,
And if you want to take photos with your families, you can come up here, if you'd like to. Your family can come up. Oh, everybody.
Mom.
Yes.
Swear.
Welcome aboard.
Oh, okay. Congratulations again, probationary police officer Weiss. Please be safe and go forward to serve your community. And now we're going to continue with our regular meeting today, and since we have no announcements, I'm going to ask for first and second to close the town board meeting and open the community development meeting. Can I have a first and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Take the roll, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes. Resolution?
Resolution 1.
All right, I'm gonna ask Dawn to come forward, our CDA director, I guess, and then you're gonna take it from there, Dawn, please.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
We have two resolutions on our agenda today. One is the omnibus resolution relating to requirements of the Public Authorities Accountability Act of 2005. It's a housekeeping resolution we do every year. And the second resolution appoints members and officers to the Community Development Agency, and I guess we would take comment on those resolutions if there is any from the public.
Yes. Anybody wanna come forward? Is there anyone online?
You're on, Kathy? Larry?
Kathy, you gotta turn on your volume?
We can't hear you, Kathy, if you can hear us.
You have a lot of experience with this, Kathy, what happened? She's always on, so, I don't know, your speakers?
Maybe a volume, because
All right, maybe go to the next person. She's the only person?
Kathy, we still can't hear you.
yeah, go right ahead. Supervisor, just a quick note about the timer. It's not working today, so we're going to keep manual time like we used to do prior to that digital timer. So for folks looking for that, we're going to keep it in our hands, and I'll communicate with Eric on that.
Yes, and you need to make that statement to address the board, please? Yeah, statement when somebody comes to comments, that address the board. Well, you used to do, yeah.
Does she want to type in the text what she
Appreciate
wants to say, and then you can...
Then you should just count out loud during each person. Okay?
Oh, okay, good. All right.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Any other comments? Well, fortunately, we don't have the individual, must be some technical error on their end. They can write to us, they can call us, with any of their concerns. And also, we're gonna have a public comment period towards the end on any matter, so maybe they'll try to come back on then.
That would be great. Okay, so we can go ahead to the resolutions. CDA Resolution 2023-1, Omnibus Resolution relating to the requirements of the Public Authorities Accountability Act of 2005, and ratifying all prior committee charters and policies of the Community Development Agency. Need a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes,
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 2023-2 appoints members and officers to the Community Development Agency. Motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes,
Resolution is adopted, and then we can take open comments on the public, from the public on CDA matters only, if there are any comments.
oh, we have the former supervisor here, Laura Jen Smith, good afternoon.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
That's exciting 2023. I'm just wondering if there is any updates as to the EPCAL property and where it is with the IDA, what stage it's at, and any timeline that we can expect from that.
We should be briefing the public within the next month or so, hopefully.
Okay.
They
And
have
that
to
will be-
retain a new attorney, and they have to meet with the attorney, and we have it on the calendar, and I know Tim Hubbard had mentioned to update, and as soon as that happens, it's gonna happen by next month, they're gonna update all of us.
And will that be at a work session or will that be at a
Well,
regular board meeting?
We're gonna discuss with them and their attorney to see how it's gonna be done. It may be easily done in through their meeting. So let us work that out, but there will be an update, I can assure you that.
But from the town's perspective, not the IDA's
It's an
perspective?
IDA project, ma'am. So
Right,
we
well-
don't hold IDA meetings here in town board. They're an independent agency, and you should know that very well. It's an independent agency, and they have a process, and they have an attorney, and we work with them because we have a joint application. But we cannot dictate to the IDA how they're gonna have their meetings and where they're gonna have them. We need to work that out, and I can assure you it will be worked out.
I guess that was my question. Will the update be from the town's perspective, right?
No, it's
Because
gonna
we're
be-
the applicant, which seemed to be what you said originally.
It's in the IDA's hands, so what they'll do is they'll publish in post as a matter of
No,
course.
I-
And then, you know, and if there's anything other than that, we'll let the public know.
I think the question is, like, as an applicant,
Yes, correct.
will we get some kind of advance notice from the IDA as to where our application stands?
Of course we will.
Yeah,
Right, and then discuss that as a board
Right now,
for the public.
where does the application stands? Right now, it stands with the IDA, and they need to meet with their new attorney.
I
So,
understand,
and then
I
we'll take it
understand,
from
I
there.
understand the process. I think you kind of got my question. So I see some heads shaking yes. My question was, would the town be discussing the application, as Eric said, as the joint applicant, as a board, not as the IDA reviewing our application?
We
That's
will be discussing it as a board. I asked for it to be brought up to a work session, but that'll be up to the supervisor, whether it's a work session or a town board meeting, but we
Okay.
will discuss it as a
And that
board.
within the next month or so?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Chip? Kathy?
we can't hear you, Kathy.
I apologize.
There
we
you are.
go.
Kathy McGraw, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I apologize, and I wish everyone a happy new year. And my question was the same as Laura's, so just skip me on this. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay,
good. Glad you talked to each other. We're moving forward.
Okay, so we now can close the CDA meeting and reopen the town board meeting. We would need a motion and a second.
So moved.
second,
Vote.
Kern.
yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
CDA meeting is closed and town board meeting is open. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Dawn. I am told that we have not received the minutes from regarding the transcript from the last couple of meetings. So we're gonna move on to a list of the correspondence and the previews. Julie, can you?
Okay, we
Please, Lisa.
received a lot of correspondence. Mark Hobner, letter suggesting the creation of an energy committee in regard to the battery energy storage system. Cindy Clifford, letter of concern regarding battery energy storage systems. And another letter from Cindy regarding letter of concern regarding the anaerobic digesters. Robert Carpenter, Long Island Farm Bureau, letter of support of the anaerobic digesters. Chris Kent from Farrell Fritz, letter with New York State ERDA attachments regarding the battery energy storage system. Angela Zahakaris, letter urging a moratorium on all developments. Karen Hartman, letter of opposition to proposed warehouse projects in Calverton. And 4 letters of support for the anaerobic digesters, one from the town of Southington, Connecticut, Long Island Food Council, Sustainability Institute, and USGBC Long Island. We also received reports for December. The building department sent in their monthly report. The tax receiver sent in her report, and the town clerk also submitted her monthly report.
That's it?
That's all.
Okay, thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
We have no public hearings today on the agenda, so we're gonna move on to the public comments on the resolutions before us today. And this is, again, this is on the resolutions, before us today.
Just a reminder, folks, your time limit is 5 minutes. And please address all comments to the board as a body, and please state your name and your hamlet before you start.
Thank you, Eric.
Mark Hobner,
You're back already?
Aquabog.
We just saw you Thursday.
Yeah, but this is different. Thank you for at least considering, and I know you guys are in support of the number 28. I don't know, do I have to say 2023, because it is, they're all 2023 dash something? Really, can we cut through that and save like 6, like minutes a week or something? So, thank you for number 28, the food scrap resolution, and I know we're doing the right thing, because I heard from the right people that East Hampton is running at creating their own residential food scrap collection. So if we're doing something and they want to do it, then we're on the right track. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon, Sid Bale,
Happy New
Wading
Year,
River
Sid.
Civic Association. Excuse me?
Happy New Year. Good
Happy
to
New
see ya.
Year to you,
Yeah.
too, and all of you. Okay. To make it an even happier New Year, I would hope that we were going to pass that resolution today on the moratorium, the 6-month moratorium. And it's taken a god-awful long time to get to this point. And I know some of you find it to be a difficult decision, but I was looking back at some old papers that I have, and in my filing system, my wife refers to as Junkorama. There was about a moratorium discussion in 2001, before the comp plan was getting into gear. It was interesting. A young councilman by the name of Ed Densieski introduced a resolution for the moratorium at the time. And, it took a while for it to gel, but like those of us who went through the experience, the moratorium was very necessary and controversial. I think this moratorium is long overdue. And without adopting a meaningful moratorium, I think it sets up the scenario for making the whole process of updating the comp plan into a difficult lift. And it shouldn't be, a more difficult lift. So I would urge you, okay, and for this new year to pass the resolution for the moratorium public hearing. Thank you very much.
See, just to be clear, it's not up for a vote today, it's up for a post for a public hearing.
Yes,
So we're not
that's
actually
what,
voting
yes.
on yes or no to a moratorium, it's just on whether or not to publish and post it for a public hearing.
Right. So it's a less heavy lift.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Phil Barbado, Jamesport. I couldn't say anything more eloquent than the previous speaker about the moratorium. I encourage you to get it on your agenda and to pass the damn thing as soon as possible. I also encourage you to complete the comp plan, and if necessary, extend that moratorium until the comp plan is completed and the necessary zone and ordinance changes have been made in the town books, because that's what this is all about. Do the moratorium, get the town's act in shape, change the code, and then proceed to accept applications for development in that area. Please, thank you.
Well, just like Tim said before, this is only on the publish and post of the public hearing. This is not about passing it or not. These comments on resolutions should be, focused on what the resolutions are. And our resolution today that we're considering is just to publish and post for a public hearing.
I understand that. I'm saying it's
Thank you for
about
your
time.
comments.
It's about time, and I hope you do it quickly. Thank you.
However, there is a resolution that's up, and the resolution is to change the code. So they're related. So if you have a moratorium, and anything changes from that moratorium, we have to go repost and have another public hearing. So we have to concentrate on the moratorium that's before us, the way it was written, its properness, and then decide if we're gonna go forward in it. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Happy New Year. My name is Kyle Strober. I'm the Executive Director for the Association for a Better Long Island. I'm also here on behalf of the Long Islanders Builders Institute.
Okay.
And I'm also a millennial who's sick and tired of hearing my friends and peers say that taxes are too high on Long Island and there's no jobs for them and they have to move. And that's why I'm here in opposition to 2023-39, opposing a proposed moratorium on industrial development. You know, when most people think of commercial properties, they think of pizzerias or hardware shops, but industrial development is the backbone of our economy. It's the ones who are delivering the flour to the pizzerias and the hammers and the nails to the hardware stores. They create tax revenue for the town, also for the county and the state. They create hundreds of jobs, and they have a much more substantial impact than anyone else to the school districts. Therefore, when you place a moratorium on such developments, the local municipality is effectively reducing the town's tax base and shifting the burden onto the residents. Placing a moratorium on industrial developments further disrupts the precarious supply chain that many companies in this town rely on. And I would say we've all heard of supply chain issues. It's in warehouses and it's distribution centers that play a critical role on our local businesses to providing us the services and the goods that we look to purchase. You know, delaying and possibly losing such development impacts both customers, many of whom are town residents, as well as local businesses. And while I can go on about the economic impacts of this proposal that it'll have on the town and our region, it's important to mention regulations and existing precedents when placing a moratorium on development. It's a form of zoning for municipalities. The community's authority to adopt a moratorium is often referred to as a police powers measure. Judicial courts do not favor the use of police power measures unless it's critical, unusual, or injury to the community will occur and must be used as a last resort. It's the most extreme form of land use action because it suspends the rights of the property owner. And prior legal precedents confirms that courts rule favorably on the landowners. And lastly, while you're updating the comprehensive plan, which ABLI and Libby fully support, it is not a reason to put forth a moratorium right now. Now, there are conditions that the land use moratorium must include. It must provide facts indicating there's no alternatives. Are there alternatives not too burdensome? The property rights of owners must provide reason existing land use plans or ordinances are not adequate. The list goes on, and I can submit them to the record if the clerk would allow me. But I want to say this. I want to say there are many issues that go on with developments and concerns that negatively impact residents in the community when developments occur. But there is a better way to do it. You know, developers and companies must work with the community to find a compromise and move forward. Putting a blanket moratorium is a death blow to not only the local economy, but the regional economy. We can't have another issue when it comes to supply chains. We shouldn't stop our manufacturers who make products that defend our country, as my colleague Pat Boyle Ignite will say, in the military and aerospace industries. We can't have this put forward, and we respectfully request that while you're considering this, the realities of what's going on, the economic impact, and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
A little closer to the mic, please.
Sure. My name is Patrick Boyle, Executive Director of Ignite LI, the Manufacturing Trade Association for all of Long Island. I'm here to piggyback off of what Kyle said here. The confidence for companies to stay here on Long Island and to grow here on Long Island is diminished every day. Like Kyle said, the cost of living, the cost of doing business. When we put forward moratoriums like this, it diminishes our company's ability to have that confidence to grow here on Long Island, to keep our families here on Long Island, and when they're not confident enough to grow and to stay, we're going to lose jobs. And when we lose jobs, we lose people, we lose neighbors and family and friends. It's really, that point was really what I needed to deliver, the confidence for companies to stay here and to grow here. We can't do anything to diminish it. We all know doing business here on Long Island and even in New York State is a tremendous task. I'm sure most of you are small business owners yourselves, so you understand how dramatically difficult it is, and this moratorium just takes away a little bit more of that confidence to stay. Thank you.
Chip, anybody online? You wanna bring one up? He's bringing somebody online first. Thank you.
Hi, Kathy McGraw, Northville. I think it's pretty clear the people who live in Riverhead want this moratorium. And I'm not going to be interrupted on the merits of this moratorium because you let those two people do that very thing. The planning board recommended this moratorium to you. And I urge you to approve the resolution for a public hearing. I also see in today's resolutions a 3% raise for the town planner. Although it's a modest raise, I and others don't really understand why he merits any raise at all, given that Riverhead is waist deep in planning problems, in large part resulting from the delayed and mishandled comp plan update. This town board spends most of its time dealing with planning issues. You, however, obviously value Mr. Murphy's services. So I'd like to ask, since he is the town planner, whether you consulted Mr. Murphy to get his opinion on the merits of this moratorium. Mr. Hubbard, did you?
I have spoken to Mr. Murphy about this, correct?
How about you, Mr. Rothwell?
No, I have not.
Supervisor Aguirre?
This is a comment section, it's not, let's take a poll. Well, hold on. We need to have a meeting not disrupted, not take its own course, this is a comment period.
I'm simply
I
trying
don't
to
owe
find
you an
out,
explanation.
giving the man a
No,
raise,
I don't
I'd like to know if you
okay.
consulted him
Give us your
on this
comments.
moratorium.
Kathy,
If you don't want to answer,
Ms.
don't.
McGraw, give us your comments, okay? Give us your comments.
Mr. Bayrod or Mr. Kern, would you like to answer?
Not at this time.
I'd like to hear your comments.
Okay. I also listened to you, Supervisor Aguirre, on WRIB this week. And I'm not trying to pick on you. Quite honestly, I'm not. But it appeared that you and the speakers here today don't understand that this proposed moratorium is not a blanket moratorium. Yet, to Bruce Tria, you talked all about a blanket moratorium. You said it takes away property owners' rights, and you focused on home buyers and residential property. You pointed out that landowners wouldn't be able to build homes on their property during a moratorium. Do you understand that the proposed moratorium applies only to industrial A, B, and C in Calverton? And if you do understand that, then why were you misleading the public when you were speaking on WRIB about residential, people being able to build their houses?
All right, so that's a good concoction of what I said and what I know. I am fully aware, and I have gotten internal and external legal consultation. I made a reference, it's similar to somebody buying their home so they can build and buying a piece of land, and I referred myself, I said, I purchased a piece of land here, and once I purchased it, and I'm in contract to build a house, I don't want somebody to tell me I can't build a house. That's what I was saying, but that was your comment. It was convoluted, it's fine, it's your natural action all the time. Chip, can we move forward to the next call?
Excuse me, I still have a few minutes left. This moratorium would not stop anyone from building a home. And for most projects in this town, the planning board has responsibility, including almost all the projects that are pending in industrial A, B, and C right now. They are the experts, and they have recommended a moratorium there. So I would ask you, why won't you heed their advice and pass this limited moratorium as set forth in today's resolution for a public hearing?
Okay, are you done?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Chip, can we move forward?
Yes.
Christine Schmidt from,
Hi.
Christine,
Excuse
can
me,
you pull the
Fox-
mic down just a little bit?
Christine
Beautiful.
Schmidt from Foxwood Village.
Hi.
I'm glad you're considering the moratorium, and I'd like I've been reading about the problems with grow warehouses in Denver, and I would hope that you look into that sort of thing and make some kind of plan before considering the warehouses. Make sure you have some controls that we don't have a half dozen grow warehouses here with the smells and other problems, energy problems, water problems. So I would ask that you consider that and work on it while the moratorium's in place.
Thank you. Next, can you come forward? Hi.
Good afternoon, Jackie O'Donnell from Foxwood Village. Happy New Year. I speak in support of Resolution 39 for a public hearing, to schedule a public hearing for the moratorium. My neighbors in Foxwood Village and myself are as you are aware, very interested in the development of this moratorium. I do ask that it be in an appropriate time and date for enough of our community members to attend, a convenient time. Please consider that when scheduling it, and that it not be lumped in with so many other things that it wears out the residents before they get to the item. This is an important item for us, and I would appreciate that consideration for the seniors at Foxwood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, John Cullen, Northville.
How are you?
I also support the moratorium, resolution number 39, until the comprehensive plan has been signed and finished. Even if it takes longer, it needs to take longer. Our last meeting on January 22nd, or a couple of days before Christmas, there was only 60% of the town board there. And at the end, I had an emergency situation where I had to get home, and I wanted to make a quote, and I couldn't figure out how to get on the YouTube over here. I needed a teenager at home. But my final quote was going to be on January 20, whatever the date was there's a great movie called Elf, and I'm sure a lot of people in this room have seen the movie. And there's a great quote, and it goes, "The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear." That meeting, there were 140 people singing loud and clear to be heard about a moratorium, and I hope that the town board heard them. Thank you.
Hi, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope it's a healthy one for all. My name is Linda Nemeth. I'm from Calverton. I hear all this talk about people who buy something here, that they've invested. I've invested. Everybody in here has invested in their homes, their property, for a long time, for whatever. My dad was a small business owner. I respect business, I respect building, and all of these trades because they are a necessity and really serve us. But when you bulldoze a whole concept over a property without considering all the other property owners, we are at a tremendous loss. Where are we going to go now? And if traffic that is proposed from these warehouses develops without the infrastructure of 2-lane roads that are falling apart at their edges now, running right by senior developments, crowded. Everybody keeps talking about the tax base. I'd like to know, with all the development that we've seen on 58, I was always promised, oh, this will be great. We'll put in a Costco, the tax base will go down. We'll put in a this, we'll put in a that. Well, 58 is a head-on collision waiting to happen. It's a mess, but I have never seen a cent of my taxes reduced. I'm not complaining about my taxes. I think for me, they're very fair. But I am a homeowner and a property owner, and I'm being disregarded by the fact that big businesses and people with a hell of a lot more money can come in here and take over without the blink of an eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Laura Jen Smith again, taller than everybody else. So I'm also here to speak on Resolution 39. I know that This is put forth as a 6-month moratorium. I think that is a mistake. I think a 12-month moratorium is really what's needed here. I think that you were on the radio even saying that a 6-month moratorium doesn't really help much. You have the opportunity before you've passed this to amend this and make it a 12-month moratorium before you vote on it so that the public can comment on it. You know, I think we need to keep in perspective that the zoning we currently have in place was made, you know, more than 20 years ago, and we've seen what has occurred in our town since then and the development that has occurred since then. I don't think anybody here is against progress, is against development. But we all want the development that does occur here to be with what the community wants, and that requires proper zoning to be in place. In industrial area A, B, and C, all of these projects are requiring variances. They're having height variances, they're having all sorts of variances, so it doesn't currently fit into the zoning that we have. So we need to create zoning that will support industry and support our community. And that can't happen while you're in the process of deciding what that zoning should be through the comprehensive plan. So I really urge you to take a year. You don't have to keep the moratorium in place if you finish the comp plan before then. You can roll it back, you can remove the moratorium, but at least gives the pause, and it also gives developers to know what to expect. To put a 6-month moratorium in place when you're going to build something, is it going to be a year, is it not going to be a year, is very, you know, very inconclusive, and you don't know what's going on. So if I'm going to develop something, I want to know in a year that this comp plan is going to be moving forward. You know, we also are not putting a moratorium on EPCAL. You know, this is an ideal place that we were slotted to have this kind of industrial development. And, you know, maybe the effort should be put into getting that moving forward so that we can develop that property there, not on the 2-lane roads and oversaturate A, B, and C that was never meant to be there with the zoning that we currently have. So just some thoughts on that. And I also, on resolution, the salary increases, I'll speak to 2023-14. In the resolution, it says there's, and this refers to Mr. Murphy, the 3% increase in annual salary, and I believe it's written in the other ones as well. It says, in addition to the salary set forth in the resolution. Are there salary increases already from 2022 to 2023 on these different resolutions that are raising salaries?
Yes,
Okay,
there are. Bill, he has he's got the whole sheets. He's got the accountant sheets.
Is there already a salary increase in their yearly salary? It's written, yeah, this is how it's written. It's written 3% increase in annual salaries effective January 1st, in addition to a salary set forth in the resolution. So is these salaries set forth in the resolution, are they already increases from 2022?
There are union and some non-union employees that receive a step. In the first resolution of the year, there's a 1.25% step increase in union people and in some non-union people.
So this is Mr. Murphy's.
So yes, he's got a 1.25% over from last year to now, and then that's an addition.
Okay. Chip, is there anyone online?
Yes.
Okay.
You're on, Mike.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year, everybody. Mike Foley from Reeves Park. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to speak collectively on the salary increases. And actually, Bill, I'm glad you mentioned the step increase. I was curious about that. And certainly, I am wholeheartedly supportive for these additional overstep increases. As everybody knows, our cost of living is about 7%. As those of you that are collecting Social Security or veterans disability benefits, we're getting about 8.5%.
in cost of living increases. I think it's only fair for the people we always praise, in town workers, that they get some consideration for the inflation that they too are encumbered with. And one of the main reasons, I think I might have been the only one of that spoke in favor of the town piercing the cap, was in contemplation of you spreading some of that additional money to the employees of this town. So I applaud you for that, and I wholeheartedly support all of those increases that are in above the step. And just 1 second, I wanted to talk about the Riverhead Police Department. I'm looking here at the annual salaries that were posted as part of these agenda packets for the resolution. And I see that the average Riverhead police officer, I'm assuming at top pay, is at $131,000. That's a tremendous salary when you compare it to the NYPD. Yvette, I know you're familiar with the NYPD. And I pulled off the salary and benefits from the website. Starting salary for a New York City cop is $42,500. After 5.5 years, they get $85,000. When you include holiday pay, longevity pay, uniform allowance, night differential, it comes to about $100,000. So I would say that certainly the Riverhead Police Department earns their money. The fact that they're 30% higher than the NYPD, I think kind of says just how tough it is in law enforcement these days. Certainly, I wholeheartedly support all of those salaries as well. I want to talk real quickly about Resolution 28, which has to do with the $30,000 grant for the scrap development program. I heard about this at a work session last week where Mark and Dawn and a few other people I did not recognize spoke about the importance of this. And I want to congratulate Mark, and I want to congratulate Dawn and the people that worked with them to get this $30,000 grant. I kind of make an analogy on this being something that we are kind of leading the way in Long Island on this program that is of critical importance. The same way as we kind of led the Long Island on getting marijuana legalized and put in retail and in cannabis cafe locations in Riverhead to be determined. Certainly, Riverhead's placement of these things was much more diverse than the other three towns, and I thank Ken for that. Ken Rothwell's the guy that led it. He was incredibly objective and inclusive and came up with stuff that in some places is more restrictive than the state, which is fine with me. It's a starting point, and as I said at the podium once or twice, the perfect should not be the enemy of the good. And finally, on Resolution 39, that asks for a public hearing on a moratorium. Excuse me, let me correct myself. 4 out of 5 members on the town board have stated publicly that they're in favor of listening to the public on things. I have not heard from the 5th person. I guess we'll find out when this vote is taken. I am hopeful that all 5 of you vote in favor of this public hearing. I'm not going to talk about the merits or demerits of the public hearing. I'll just say that the 2
You have 30
non-resident
seconds left, Mike. You have 30 seconds.
development shills that talked about that, we will deal with at the public hearing. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else want to come forward?
Hi, Karen Kemp from Calverton. We absolutely need a moratorium, and we absolutely need to have a comprehensive plan. The town has an obligation to the community to first complete an updated comprehensive plan in order to address such issues as warehouses, battery storage, and anaerobic digesters. I find it difficult to believe that the town would even consider allowing a 600,000 square foot cube warehouse that is 4 times the size of Costco. I bought it in a map last time. In a residential area, this warehouse would be directly next to homes and a school bus stop across the street. So please, instate a moratorium so we can have a comprehensive plan now. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Matthew Ingber from the law firm of Brown, Altman, and DeLeo, 538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301, Melville, New York, 11747. I'm here today on behalf of HK Ventures in opposition to the proposed moratorium as applied to HK Ventures. We have a memorandum that I'd like to submit in the record.
Can I see that, please?
So, as provided in the memorandum, the HK Ventures application is significantly different than the other Calverton industrial applications that are noted in the proposed moratorium. Just for example, the HK Ventures filed its site plan application with the Town Planning Department on February 2nd of 2020, approximately 2 years, 2 months, and 16 days prior to the other industrial applications in Calverton that would also be subject to the moratorium. We also note that the HK Ventures application has been unduly delayed throughout the town's review process, and the special facts of this matter requires that the HK Ventures application not be subject to the moratorium. We note that unlike the other Calverton industrial applications, the HK Ventures application is significantly further along in the town's zoning and SECRA review process. We anticipate receiving a SECRA finding statement in the next 30 to 60 days. And the HK Ventures application has already had a public hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals on December 8th of 2020, and is again appearing before the Zoning Board on January 12th of this year. And finally, as provided by the Suffolk County Planning Commission advisory notes, a moratorium, in quotes, is the most extreme land use application that a municipality can take because it suspends completely the rights of landowners to use their property. As such, the Suffolk County Planning Commission recommends that a moratorium be limited and that it should not be used to delay controversial development applications. Here, the moratorium is overly broad as it does not take account of the unique facts of the HK Ventures application and fails to distinguish it from the other Calverton industrial applications. Further, we submit that this moratorium cannot be used to further delay controversial development applications in Calverton, such as the HK Ventures application. On behalf of my client, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Marilyn Hamilton. My husband, Joseph LaGenusa, as I said, on December 20th. We've lived in Foxwood Village over 2 decades. And we have encouraged so many other people to live here also, in a nice, peaceful community. They too are enjoying not having to live in the hustle and bustle of the boroughs. We would like to continue to live in this great environment without large structures such as Amazon warehouses and with their numerous trucks and all the traffic, and not having battery storehouses surrounding us. Surely there are other sites on which these warehouses could be constructed, far away from residences, such as the airport. More investigation has to be done. We already, remember, we lost and suffered from the Costco Center development. It's in our backyard. We hear the noise, and that really is enough. So we would like the moratorium. Please consider what a former speaker had says about a year instead of 6 months. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Talkby Turchin with Greater Calverton Civic Association as their president. I would like to address Resolution 36, I believe it is, so that you can publish and post a public hearing for the moratorium. I encourage all 5 of our members of our town council to vote yes. People who today that you've heard from, and also on December 20th, the 120-plus people who signed in with me, all agree in their informed and clearly spoken statements that they indeed would like a moratorium. In addition to the attendance sheets that I have here, there's also over 400 people who have signed a petition for a moratorium. And the last that I will address is the gentleman who was the attorney for the applicant HK Ventures. I'm not an attorney, I'm not even a paralegal, but what I thought I was hearing was something more to the tune of eminent domain versus moratorium. Would you please consider that in your thoughts and considerations for a moratorium? Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Do we have anyone? No. I just have a quick question. Eric, what happened to the PIP in Calverton, the resolution? Is that going forward? I looked for it last night. The one for PIP, expanding retail?
Oh, that's done. No, we voted.
We already did that.
Yeah, I know, but we held a public hearing, but we didn't vote on it.
The adopt resolution isn't in this packet.
Right.
You sure? Devin, did we adopt that? I didn't think so. Go ahead.
The resolution for the adoption for that will be on the next town board meeting. It could
Okay.
not be on today because we're still within the secret 30-day coordination period.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so we'll have it on for the next agenda.
On the 18th, that resolution will go forward?
Yes.
Perfect,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so, I'm looking at this before we read the resolutions. Comment period is over. I'm looking that, we have a resolution here, 39. This is to change code that we have here, and this is the one that everyone's talking about. This resolution can't change. We put it out to the public, then we hold a public hearing on this. We can't adopt it because then we have to republish, and then we vote on it. So this is the actual resolution that's going up. So I want to make note of that. I also want to make note that about 6 weeks ago, our planning board, one member, and I know they mentioned his name, Desensky, he decided to say, hey, let's punt planning issues, let's punt it to the town board, and that's why we're here. And I'm very surprised that we weren't consulted. I know that we were addressing possible oversaturation. We do not want any community to be harmed, whether it's their peace of mind, whether it's lighting, whether it's the environment, whether it's traffic. That is never, ever happen, and that's the actual purpose of planning. And so I feel that when it was brought up, people decided, okay, maybe we'll punt it. That's all they did, was punt it to the board, so here we are. We should be punting it back to them, because that's their expertise, to make sure that our community is not harmed. And so, there was also, and I do have a copy, and I know they made a reference to it earlier, I do have a copy of a memorandum from the Suffolk County Commission, Planning Commission, and that any moratoriums has to be put forward through them before we take action. And unfortunately, people failed us. The actual, and I have a copy here, the Suffolk County Planning Commission Advisory, talking about moratoriums on building. And one of the members of the planning board, Richard O'Day, is on there. So how does, this had to be addressed, and in consultation with us, and we can change. We don't need a comprehensive plan. That's like hiding behind there. And I spoke to colleagues, I spoke to the state, I spoke to the county, I spoke to land use attorneys just to educate myself. We can do this by code. So once the comprehensive plan is completed, you still, yes, we can change it ourselves by code, exactly, and we don't need a moratorium. And once the comprehensive plan is completed, you still have to have change code, and you still have to have a public hearing. And then change code and then vote on it. So we're talking about years from now, whenever the comprehensive, this 6-month moratorium, we're back in 6 months, we're gonna have to update it, and we stand nowhere. But our comprehensive plan, it probably won't be ready for at least 2 years, and then we're gonna address this. So it's something, and believe me, we do not want, I live in a community, I share your thoughts, and I understand what you're saying. And when I bought my home, although people misinterpret it intentionally, when I bought a piece of land here to build my home and then went into contract, I didn't want anybody to change that. And I live across from a farm, Hartman Farm. I went to town to make sure it was agriculturally protected land. I get it, but we have to deal, we can't bypass the state on our laws, and we can't bypass the commission. So this memo is here, I know that the law firm made reference to it, we're supposed to be running that by them, and then they tell us if we can do it, if it's proper. So let things take its course, and I just want to educate the public, because it took a long time, and unfortunately, I didn't have that information. I had to search it for many, many weeks, and you can't violate people's rights, and you can't violate people's right to own homes and who own properties. So we're all equal in this, and we're gonna make sure, and that's the purpose of the planning board. And shame on that being brought forward, thrown to us without discussing us. They're the experts, that's their job, and they should be abiding by their own planning commission memos, and I'll supply a copy to them. So moving forward, I'm sorry, man, did you have a?
Just one quick
Sure.
question, I'm sorry.
It's
My
okay.
name's Meredith Ritter, and I live in
Hi.
Foxwood. You just stated that the resolution will be as written that we read last night in what you're going to discuss today? Precisely as written?
Yeah, so what happens is when we change code, right, we have our codes, the laws, we have them in there, and if we're gonna change that, then we create a resolution, and we publish it, so the public is aware of it. It gets noticed, it's called, it's in the newspapers, and then we have a public hearing.
Right.
But it has to stay specifically on this, we can't change it, otherwise we have to repost, it starts the So this would be the resolution, if we're gonna have a moratorium, and then we're not gonna repost or change it, this is the exact resolution that we're voting on. We're voting that we're accepting this resolution, and that we want a public hearing, and then after that, we'll take an official vote.
Just quick question, though, I didn't notice that there was leave to extend it written in there, or is that just understood?
Well, in a moratorium.
This resolution is for 6 months, for a 6-month moratorium.
Right.
And
This publish and post resolution.
As I read it last night,
It's
so.
6 months.
So there's no understanding there that it could be
It does
extended?
expire, so we can renew it,
It will
yes.
expire, but you could renew, okay, thank you very much.
But in 6 months from now, we're gonna be exactly where we were, 12 months exactly where we were, comprehensive plan exactly where we were. Because all the process, and we can do that now, change our own code. And I would highly recommend that the planning board, if they felt so strong at that, consult with our code, and we have code off, and work towards that, instead of claiming, well, we're gonna do this moratorium, and the same process has to happen, whether it happens 2 years, 3 years from now, it can happen right now.
I appreciate your
All right, ma'am.
explanation, thank you very much.
You be safe.
Hi, I know this is out of order and I don't want to come up here, but Eric, you're the town attorney and what the supervisor's saying is incorrect. This is a resolution for a public hearing. The board can change the wording in what is written on there before they vote to hold the public hearing and announce it, correct?
Yeah, anytime before the resolution is adopted and prior to publication and prior to adoption, any of the members could propose an amendment to it such that it would be published
As amended.
and adopted as amended.
Okay, that's not what was just said. So, I mean, these things should be corrected when they're put out to the public. And secondly, the point of a public
Hold on a
hearing
second,
is
please.
to...
Hold on a
Just let me
second.
finish for 1 second.
No,
The
no,
point
no,
of a
wait,
public hearing
before
is
you
to
make a
have the public
statement, if
comment.
you change a resolution at any time and you publish, if it's anything material and substantial, it has to be reposted. So let
For a second, that's not...
That's if you're gonna go to a second public hearing. So, if after holding the public hearing, there is a feeling or a sense on the town board that you want to amend what was previously put up for public hearing, if it is a substantial change, then that would have to be republished. and
Exactly what I'm
renoticed
saying,
for
but right,
further
anytime you
public
change a resolution,
But
it's a
the
substantial change,
whole
it doesn't
point,
post.
the whole point of the
It's not
public
any different.
hearing
Right, okay.
is,
hearing. Any local law that we'd be amending.
right, so the whole point of the public hearing is to hear from the public on the proposed code change, right? So after hearing from the public, as the board, you then make your decision whether you're going to vote on it or not, or you've been swayed to change what you've presented to the public based on the public comments, then you would republish it. But to say that whatever is put in there is written in stone and cannot be changed, after the public hearing is incorrect information to the public. The point of the public hearing is so that you can hear the feedback on what you've proposed to the public and then decide after that and after those comments how you feel about it. So, at least be clear as to what this
We are being
process
clear,
is.
and take your personal,
I have no personal agenda. These
Yes, you
are,
do.
these
So-
are the
critical
procedures
matter.
for putting something forward. These are legal procedures on how you proceed to put a code through. It's no opinion. If you'd like to ask your town attorney, I'm sure he will concur on the process that has to happen for this. So when you're telling the public something different, that is incorrect, it's very hard to stand by and just let those facts perpetuate themselves. So that's the reason I'm up here, and thank you for
okay,
listening.
and thank you for being up here, but the fact of the matter is, anytime you have a public hearing and you post, and you change a resolution, okay, especially if it's something substantial, you have to repost and start the process. Does not go back and forth, making claims. Okay.
That is as how it works, correct?
Okay, that's exactly what I meant, but let's move forward. That's it. Julie, can you call the resolutions, please?
Resolution number 1.
Okay. Let's get one.
Sets elected officials' salaries for 2023, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 2.
Set salaries of general town employees for the year 2023, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 3.
Set salaries of highway department for the year 2023, so moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 4.
Set salaries of police officers for the year 2023, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 5.
Pause 1 second. Is that the one we were making an amendment on for the chief?
Oh, no, we reposted after we got 5 stigma.
One?
Yes.
Okay,
Devin,
just
did you
making
check?
sure.
That's the right one, the
It is.
adjustment?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, just one double check,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Number 5, set salaries of sewer scavenger waste district for the year 2023, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 6.
Set salary of street lighting district for the year 2023, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 7.
Set salaries of various boards for the year 2023, so moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 8.
That's you, baby.
Set salaries of water district employees for the year 2023, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 9.
Approve salary increase for a network and systems specialist 2, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 10.
Approves a salary increase for legislative secretary, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Thank you to Carol, she does a great job and it's well deserved, yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Bill, I have a question. This raise, does that include the 5% that we gave the town, every employee? Where's Bill? Every employee got a 5% raise. I want to know if this is an additional raise, because this did not go through the process. This did not go through the budgetary process. Myself, Bill, yeah, go ahead.
This is just a straight 7.5% increase over 2022 salary for her.
Right, so she doesn't get an additional 5%.
She did not get the step that we spoke about earlier.
Okay, so 75, okay, I'm gonna vote no, this does not go through the process. You weren't aware of it, the labor attorney wasn't aware of it, myself as the budget officer, so therefore I'm gonna vote no.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 11.
Approve salary increase for a part-time office assistant. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 12.
Approved salary increase for senior wastewater treatment plant operator 2. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 13.
Approved salary increase for a part-time housing inspector. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 14.
Approved salary increase for town building and planning administrator. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 15.
Approve salary increase for superintendent of recreation. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 16.
Approved salary increase for an accountant. So moved.
Vote please.
Seconded.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 17.
Approved salary increase for an account clerk. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 18.
Approved salary increase for minibus driver. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 19.
Approve salary increase for a cook. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 20.
Approved salary increase for an assistant town engineer. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
I'd like to take a moment to echo the words of Mike, who spoke eloquently about the great work that happens with our town employees every single day. I got a text message from Ken Testa this morning saying that the prior negotiated increase was not reflected in this resolution, and that he was promised something other than what this resolution says. Unless Bill can come up and say otherwise, I'd like to vote no on this, but I'd like to hear your input before. And I only bring it up as liaison to the engineering department, and we have a great engineering department led by Drew Dillingham. Do great work. And, by the way, we're about to encumber on the town square, which the engineering department is intimately working with, and the conversion of Second Street, which they are intimately working on. And so I just want to make sure that what he was promised is in this resolution.
So this resolution does not get him to the 12,000. The potential increase in the CSEA contract, which he will benefit from, would get him to that 12,000 that he was told.
And during budget negotiations, that was explained to him.
No, budget negotiations, that wasn't explained to him. He wasn't in on the budget negotiations, but there was a conversation after that where he asked about it, and then we explained to him that with the 3, with the step, with the 5%, and with the union increase that he's also entitled to, he will get to that 12,000.
Understood. I vote no. Thank you.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre,
Yes, it's built in, and I researched it last night. We have to wait for the contract. He wanted close to $12,000. I think it comes up to 11,800, which is pretty substantial raise. It's actually the highest, I think, or one of the highest received, so it is built into it. We just have to settle our contract negotiations, and he misunderstood. He did text everybody. Bill did explain it to him yesterday. I think he's gonna be reaching 11,800, so
Can I-
I'm gonna vote yes.
Can I speak? I know it's after the fact, this real quick. Just, Ken Tester is absolutely incredible. He's one of the town top employees, and so Frank, I also absolutely looking out to make sure that he's protected. I did have a meeting with him, and I think Councilman Hubbard was on the cell phone when we discussed this, and when we calculated everything right now, we are still in negotiations with the union contract, but should it fall in the market 5,000, he will be receiving $12,238, so it gets him his raise, and was part of the conversation that we had with him. So he will receive what was promised.
all right, the resolution is adopted. Resolution number 21.
Approves a salary increase for the town engineer. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes, Drew does a great job.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 22.
Approved salary increase for tax cashier. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 23.
Promotion of a sewer district employee to wastewater treatment plant operator 2A. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 24.
Promotion of a sewer district employee to wastewater treatment plant operator 2A. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 25.
Ratifies the promotion of a police officer to the position of Detective Grade 3. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
One of our finer police officers. Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 26.
Reappoints town historian. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
It was a great job, Georgette. Thank you. Yes.
Bayrock.
One of the very unheralded employees of the town and does a dynamite job. Thank you for everything. Yes.
Hubbard,
Well said, my colleagues. Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, absolutely.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 27.
Approve special event chapter 255 application for Andrews Top Gun 5K run. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 28.
Authorizes grant application to NYS DEC, New York State DEC for Municipal Food Scraps Recycling Initiative. Mark? Yes.
Can I have a second?
Seconded. Sorry.
Vote, please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Of course, yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and your committee. We really appreciate it. Great job. Awesome idea. Yes.
I want to thank everybody on the team. That's Drew Dillingham, Jason Blizzard, Shannon, don't remember her last name, from engineering, jumped in on this thing. Dawn and Frank jumped in on this thing from the grant writing department. Frank is our liaison. My entire environmental advisory committee, including George Bartnick, who kicked this off with the NYSERDA work over the last 2 years. And the civics, Takwi Turchin for Greater Calverton. The civic and the engagement of the community has been amazing. I see nothing but better things coming of this, and we have set the trend. Thank you.
Okay.
Are we doing?
Good luck.
I just didn't know if we were doing acceptance speeches now, or are we gonna have music play them off, or what?
No, where's the band?
All
Okay.
right, resolution is adopted. Resolution number 29.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a musical works license agreement with SESAC. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
So we can play him off stage? Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 30.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with D&B Engineers and Architects, PC, regarding a portion of the town of Riverhead Stormwater Management Program. So moved.
Who's gonna
Seconded.
second? Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 31.
Authorize the supervisor to sign license agreement with Dress for Success, Brookhaven, Inc. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 32.
Appoints financial advisor. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Bill, can you just give me a little bit of, background? Was Bill here on this resolution, please? Who is this person? What are they charging us? What is their purpose? You know, there was a prior resolution, right, on this?
Yeah, so we went out for an RFP last year
Uh-huh.
for a financial advisor. Our financial advisor is one who actually goes out and sells our bonds, files our SEC reports and offering statements in order to sell bonds. So we went out and did an RFP last year in August or September, appointed them, and this is just a reappointment for the year. Every year we will do this for the financial advisor.
Okay.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 33.
Adopts 2023 investment policy. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 34.
Establishes a standard workday for elected and appointed officials. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 35.
Appoints official newspaper for the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 36.
Adopts workplace violence protection program. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes, and I see that we have this plan in place. Eric, so we're gonna, can you, now that we're dealing and catching up with the required federal law, saying that we need workplace violence, we also need the sexual harassment one in place. I think we have that, right? And employees get. We also need maybe possibly adopt a code of ethics.
We have that policy.
Yeah, or possibly under Article 18 of the General Municipal Law, updating, that's what all the towns, they updated the state controller code of ethics, and I think we're the only ones in town lagging behind. And I think we have the OSHA,
When did they do this?
all the towns, they've all been adapting it. So our plan, I actually looked at today, our ethics code, let me finish, I actually looked at it today before I came here, and it's old. The last amendment was 2004. So, I actually called Southold right before the meeting, I called a whole bunch of, they were all adopted, the controllers, the state controller model, so maybe we have to just look at it and update it, so I'm gonna vote yes, but we have to update our other codes and our other plans. Yes.
All right, Resolution 36 is adopted. Resolution number 37.
Extends bid for dense soda ash 58% under the bid for chemicals for Riverhead Sewer District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes for dense soda ash.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 38.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for sewer chemicals. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrock,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 39.
schedules a public hearing and authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice of public hearing to consider a local law imposing a 6-month moratorium on the development of properties located within the Industrial A, Industrial B, and Industrial C zoning use districts within the hamlet of Calverton, zip code 11933, within the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Second?
Second?
Vote, please.
Heard. I'm going to vote no on this, and I want to be clear from the beginning that we'll look at a code with exemptions. I will not do a blanket, even for 6 months moratorium.
Rothwell.
I think a lot of the problem with development is more involved in the variances that are given and not necessarily staying within the standards of the current code in place. I just don't feel like it's proper for us to take the property rights of owners away by imposing a moratorium. I think the town does need to bring in high-tech jobs, and I think it will play outside of the UpCal facility and the fence property in the surrounding areas of Calverton. Calverton is the industrial area. I just think that voting on a 6-month moratorium is just a setup for asking developers to pause and to not come to the town and to put off any investments here. Nothing is going to be completed in 6 months. This we know. I don't feel anything is going to be completed in a year if you're standing by the comprehensive plan. I think 18 months is a minimum. So I don't understand, and I don't want to send the wrong message. I know I have absolutely stood up here and I've happily said that I'm always open to the public's input, but I also think that at the same point, we have to do our due diligence, and I think we're going to put ourselves in a very poor legal position as well by stopping moratoriums. We do listen to the Suffolk County Planning Commission and other aspects of law that is in fact in place. And so I know there's passion behind it, and that is a great reason why people would like to see a moratorium. I do like to hear, and I always ask for the public's input, but I think this time, doing my own due diligence and my own research, I don't think it's the right way to proceed, and therefore I vote no.
Bayron.
I'd like a little clarification from the town attorney that we're voting on scheduling a public hearing on a potential 6-month moratorium only.
Yes, that is correct.
I vote yes to hear the public hearings.
Hubbard.
I somewhat authored this. I strongly believe that 6 months is not long enough, but it was a starting point. I believe that we are paying in excess of $800,000 for a comp plan between what we've already paid out with one contract and what we're going to pay out with a future contract. To me, you're just wasting your money if you don't listen to the comprehensive plan. The last plan was done in 2003. Times have changed drastically since then. Why we need the new comprehensive plan, and a new comprehensive plan, nobody's hiding behind it. It will be a way to guide us to proper planning for the town of Riverhead. Our own planning board has recommended this to us. The fact that we don't want to go at least 6 months to wait for the comprehensive plan to take a look at the Calverton area first and foremost in regards to industrial A, B, and C. I think that's a shame that the board does not want to at least wait 6 months. The developers are sitting out here with bated breath. 6 months is not going to hurt them. They are not going away. Some of these projects, even with the comprehensive plan, will be coming into town, people. I will tell you that. There are going to be certain projects that are going to be coming into town. We are going to have an anaerobic digester at some point in time. We are going to have battery energy storage systems. I'm not against either one of those. What I'm against, particularly with this resolution, is the massive amounts of development that have come in all at once to one particular area of our town. That's why the moratorium is needed to pump the brakes. Take a look at this, let the experts take a look at it, and let us come up with a cohesive, comprehensive plan that will satisfy both the developers and the residents of this town. I absolutely and strongly vote yes for this publish and post.
Aguirre.
Well, I'm always open to hearing from the public, and I hope that I continue hearing from the public. These projects should never injure our residents, our villages, and I fully have supported what's going on. But we need the planning board, and it is their responsibility. That's why it's called a planning board, and they should be guided by their own commission memos. Again, they punted it to us. One particular person did punt it to us, and they took a vote on it. I will be sending them their planning commission memo where one member of the planning board is on there. This is not well-researched. This is a faulty resolution. I have looked at other resolutions from other towns, and there are significant differences. You also have to always put exceptions on it, hardships, that's not even included here. And so, given that, I am not gonna vote, to hear from the public on a faulty resolution. This should be dealt with, and it can be dealt with right now through code. That's what's actually gonna happen. We have a comprehensive plan. They're telling us 14 months, that's gonna turn into 18 months, that's gonna turn into 2 years. After that, what's gonna happen, we have to do the same thing that we could have done today. Go to code, change the code, and then adopt it. Have public hearings and adopt it. Nothing changes. All we're doing is having, stopping progress here, letting the people know, and not handling the problem ourselves. I'm handling the problem. I'm not the Dusensky who decided to throw it back on us without consulting with us and us working on this. It can be changed right now through code. It's a faulty resolution. Be minded by the Suffolk County Planning Commission Advisory Memo, Volume 2, Issue 1 of spring of 1998, and one of the planning members, Richard Day from Riverhead Town, is on that. Be guided by your own memo, and let's work together. Let's get this done and make sure that our communities are not injured. And I'll be the first one behind you guys, supporting you. We don't want this. We don't want an oversaturation, but we can't stop progress. And it's real easy. I brought this before all the towns, all the supervisors, all 10 of us are sitting there, and they're like, that's blanket, you should deal with this, it's your code, it's your planning board. Every single one was saying, how do you do that in Riverhead? Yes, other towns have moratoriums, but it's very limited, and it's not to wait 2 years, 3 years. For example, Southampton did a moratorium because all the hotel rooms were turning into condos. So they had to put a stop just on that. It was specific and it was short, and they created the code, and they moved quite forward. I was talking to Hempstead supervisor. He says, we have one in place because we're 97% built out. That's when you really need a moratorium, when it's a danger to us and to our town. In either case, I'm gonna recommend going back to the planning board, work with us, help us change our code, continue doing your job. I'm gonna vote no.
Resolution is not adopted.
Just for the record, I want to state this, there is nothing illegal about this resolution.
Resolution number 40.
Authorize the supervisor to execute Third Amendment to agreement with Property Registration Champions, DBA Pro Champ. So moved.
Second it.
Vote please.
Hearn.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 41.
Authorizes settlement of legal action by Judith Ann Lee against the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Hearn.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 42.
Pays the bills. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Hearn.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
That's it. That's the other one we did.
Yep, the last one we did.
Yep.
All right, you did a good job, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, this is going to conclude our resolutions for today, and at this point, we're going to open up the meeting for comments on any other matter from the public, and we're going to check online. Can we check online, Chip?
Would you like to start while you're checking?
Kathy McGraw, Northville. Really feel like we're beating our heads against a concrete wall. I urge you again to suspend action on the proposed zoning amendments allowing battery energy storage systems in anaerobic digesters pending the completion of the comp plan update. I've said it before, I don't understand what the rush is. I'm not opposed to these uses, but they are uniquely suited to study by the comp plan consultants. You are wasting taxpayer dollars if you don't let the consultants study these new uses and make recommendations as the contract asks those consultants to do and is paying them to do. Again, Supervisor, yes, we do listen to WRIV. You insisted that with these new codes, you would not let a battery energy storage system next to Glenwood Village on Mill Road. You said you would protect those residents. The reality is, if you move forward with these zoning code changes, you may believe you can protect them, but you can't. If the code is passed, Hexagon can go before the ZBA for a special exception to build on Mill Road. Do you really think they would have appeared here at the last town board meeting and brought their consultant if they don't believe they can get that exception from the ZBA? And most importantly, you have and should not have any control over the ZBA decisions. They alone can approve that project on Mill Road next to Glenwood. You can do nothing about it. And contrary to your description on this same matter to Bruce Tria of Barbara Blass as a blast from the past who is out of touch and just one voice, I venture to say she knows infinitely more than you do about planning. And she is not just one voice. Witness the masses of people who have come before you all in town hall objecting to moving forward on these zoning code changes until the comp plan is updated. So again, I ask you town board members to suspend action on the new zoning codes until the comp plan update is completed. But it's pretty clear from the comments I've heard here today that you all don't believe, other than Mr. Hubbard, you don't believe in a comp plan. You believe you should go forward piecemeal, changing the code, making the changes so developers can get what they want, and basically, you don't believe in a comp plan. And if you don't, why are you spending $420,000 more of the taxpayers' money? What is there going to be for the comp plan to do when you have changed all the codes come 2 years from now? I'd really like to know if your town planner agrees with this approach. And I would also like to know, Supervisor Aguiar, if you have signed the contract with the consultants for the comp plan update. Have you done that?
Thank you for your comment. It's in the process of being completed. It's in the legal department at the moment. Yeah. It's been signed, but it has to go out. It went out through certified mail. So it's in the process of just being completed. Once I sign it, they have to get it and complete it. So it is.
Have you signed it?
By next week, we'll have it done. Okay? And the comp plan is not the gift of everything. It's just recommendations. Okay? And then we need to decide if we're going to accept them.
Why are we spending the money if you're going to change everything before we get the comp plan?
Yep, okay. We're not going back and forth. Thank you for your comment. Moving forward.
I'd like to comment.
Yeah, can you comment on it?
So I just want to say, Ms. McCord, with all due respect, you're completely wrong on your accusations about putting code in place. I've been working on the last year and a half the battery-powered energy storage code, and the best code that we have written protects the residents, and it certainly protects the residents of Glenwood Village more than anyone else in this town, because it prohibits battery-powered energy storage from taking place on R40 property, which is zoned adjacent to them. It puts it in the proper place around town, and by us setting a zoning application, put it in place, it protects the residents, because if we sit and we wait for the comprehensive plan and we do nothing about battery-powered energy storage, the developers that are looking to be and put their projects alongside Glenwood would declare themselves as a public energy company, and they have a right to go to the state of New York to get their permits And there's nothing we can do about it because we won't have any code in place to protect ourselves. So the only way to protect this is to put code ahead of time, and we don't have 2 years to wait before we decide where these projects are going to go, where they're not, because then the state of New York, under their more recent legislation, is going to allow them and allow these projects to proceed, because they will become public entities and they will go directly and receive their permission from the state of New York, and we will have no say. Our only defense is to say that we have a code in place and it dictates where they are permitted in the town and where they are not. That is our only defense. So
Do you
contrary to everything you said is
understand that the
completely
ZBA
inaccurate.
can pass a special exception, and Hexagon has already asked for one?
It won't be permitted in the zoning when we
They
put
could
up
do,
a...
they could continue a non-conforming use.
They can get a special exception. The ZBA can grant them a special.
Okay.
Accepting as a non-conforming use.
All right, 5 minutes is up, Ms. Patel, 5 minutes is up, let's hear from the former supervisor. Go ahead, supervisor. We're not going back and forth, this is a comment period, not an argument, not a cross-examination. If the board wants to respond, of course, you address the entire board collectively, and if they want to respond, they respond back. Yes.
I'm shocked. Honestly,
Okay, drama.
I
Just get to
cannot
the point.
believe that you guys did not vote to hold a public hearing for this moratorium. Week after week after week after month, for years now, the community, the constituents of you, the taxpayers of this town have been coming forward to ask for a moratorium. They've been asked to be heard. This was your opportunity to hold a public hearing on record for them to comment on this moratorium and the comprehensive plan, and you voted no. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And secondly, when you talk about the planning board, you know, I don't know what you're saying the planning board did, but the planning board cannot enact code and zoning, and so, or enact a moratorium. So they sent their opinion to you to enact a moratorium. So to go back and say the planning board this, the planning board did that, it's your job to decide whether to do a moratorium or not. Has nothing, the planning board has no ability to do that. So that statement, I don't even know what the statement you had meant.
Hold on,
But let me, can I finish talking?
you're
I
not
have my
gonna
5
finish
minutes.
because you're
I
making-
have my 5
Ma'am,
minutes. I would
I'm
like to
gonna
finish.
have you removed. If you keep it up, I'm gonna ask you to leave.
For
Okay.
finishing my 5 minutes comment.
No, without letting me respond to you, raising your voice.
So then I will have more time than 5 minutes?
You're disrupting the meeting and you're making false accusations.
But will I have more time than 5 minutes then?
You will have it, because you
Okay.
need that
All
time.
right, go ahead
I know
then.
you need
Go
it.
ahead.
The planning board's job is to look at the regulations and to enforce them. And if there is gonna be a moratorium, to advise us. And you're correct, we do the code. Don't change things to make them appear inaccurate. Yes, we are the ones, and we're fully know, and that's why we're sitting here, and that's how come we voted for all those. The planning board, if they saw a lot of projects, we don't see the projects that go in unless we ask. So if the planning board saw a problem, they should have consulted with us and abided by their own memo. That's where that stands. Go ahead.
Okay, so the planning board sent you a letter more than several weeks ago. You've had numerous work sessions since then. You could have invited the planning board to any one of those meetings. You could have held a tri-board meeting if you wanted more information for the planning board. The resolution that was presented today that you said was inadequate, it was presented on Thursday and it's been presented before that. You have a legal team here, and I don't know who the other consultants you say you're consulting with, but, you know, all of them, you could have adopted a resolution that you were comfortable enough to put forward with the wording. Instead of going behind and saying, I'm not going to do it because I didn't like the resolution. You're the supervisor of the town. You should be putting forth the resolution that you're comfortable with. And if you weren't comfortable with the wording, as you're saying, then you have a town attorney here, and a work session where you could have corrected it. Instead, you just said to the public, no, and we don't want to hear from you on this moratorium. And another thing, the comprehensive plan is what sets your zoning code for the future. The zoning that is in place now is based on a comprehensive plan that was done 20 years ago to decide the direction of this town. We are paying out, you know, $800,000 for the community to speak as to what the direction of this town will be going forward. That's what a comprehensive plan does, and then that's what the zoning is based on. The future going forward. What you're saying to the community is, we're taking the comprehensive plan from 2003 that you've all agreed to spend lots of taxpayer money on to update because you felt it was necessary, and are now going to use that to enact the code for the community that everybody has agreed is outdated. It's mind-boggling to me, and you should be ashamed of yourself, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Next.
John Cullen over in Northville. Very disappointed in today's vote. You say you work for the people, you listen to the people. The last 8 weeks, the people have been filling up this room every time, and when you weren't here the last meeting, the rows were up and down the aisles. Not one person said, I want a moratorium. They all asked that a moratorium be held. And then we come in and we try and get a 6-month or the minimum. With Tim's help, thank you, Tim. My heart goes out to you. I don't know about the 3 guys to your right, Tim. I'm starting to really, really lose hope in you guys. I've been coming to these meetings for years. Back when Phil Cardinelli was in your seat, I was in my seat back here. I've never seen the room board treat people like I've seen in the last 6 weeks. It's very disappointing. When you voted no, the room left. They all been talking and begging. You come up and you say that I listen to the people, and you don't listen to the people because for 8 weeks the people have been begging for a moratorium, and when you said no, they got up and left. And I don't blame them, and I'm going to leave now too.
All right, be safe. Thank you for your comment, and be safe.
Okay. May God bless America.
Yes,
Let's have
absolutely.
peace. Thank you.
Okay. Chip? We have no one? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Richard Cole, Foxwood Village.
Yes.
I'm a new member of the Town of Riverhead, meaning my wife and I were lifelong Nassau County residents. We moved to the Town of Riverhead after having vacationed in Riverhead for over 40 years. We grew to love it, and we vowed that when we retired, we would move to Riverhead, which we did in October of last year. After spending several months renovating our home in Foxwood Village and getting acclimated to the community, we started hearing rumblings about what the plans were in the Town of Riverhead, and we wouldn't believe it. Just a little bit of history, we had something similar happening in the village of Farmingdale, where developers wanted to come in and change the landscape and the makeup of the village of Farmingdale within the town of Nassau County. Several meetings were held, and ultimately we convinced the board to vote no against what the developers were planning. It seems the complete opposite happens out here. I don't understand it. I've been attending all the meetings along with my wife and all the residents of Foxwood Village, along with the local hamlets here. They've made it clear that over the last 2.5 years, the people within these hamlets and within the town of Riverhead are against the developers who are looking to construct these 5-story warehouses that don't belong here. And yet you, the board, sit there and don't listen to your constituents. I don't know how you sit there in good conscience and agree to side with these developers and totally ignore the residents of the town of Riverhead. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you could sit there and go and sleep at night making these decisions that you make when it's obviously it doesn't agree with the people that voted to put you in office. I don't understand it. I really don't, and I just pray to God that when your terms are up, you don't get voted back into office because you're not doing your job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Jacqueline O'Donnell again from Foxwood Village. I'd just like on the record to express my disappointment in this vote. My understanding is that the resolution was for a hearing, not to vote on the moratorium, to vote on a hearing to allow the people to be held, and to not even give the community the opportunity to speak for themselves at a hearing, I believe is very disrespectful to the residents. And I thank the two gentlemen who did vote for it. I'm so disappointed, as are my neighbors, and I hope things turn around and you start listening to the community. I think we deserve that chance to be listened to. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Gerald Tracy, a new resident of Calverton. I attended my first board meeting at the 20th, just the other day. And what sparked my interest was the discussion on battery energy storage systems, BESS. Why it sparked my interest? I happen to be a retired New York City chief from the FDNY. I have some familiarization with battery storage systems and things like that. As a matter of fact, they're installing them in high-rise buildings throughout Manhattan for the fact that they can, purchase energy when it's cheap late at night, and they can use it during peak demand. These systems, commercial systems, are being installed throughout the United States. And you may be aware of a news article that was written in the New York Post just about a week ago. And it basically says, New York, the state of New York, get ready for blackouts, something similar to what's going on in California. It's amazing they want to do away with fossil fuels out there, and they're mandating that people buy electric cars. And the infrastructure of California can't even handle, let's say, charging them right now. They're going through brownouts, things like that. I applaud the fact that Mr. Rothwell has done his homework on, let's say, what's required if, in fact, these systems, it's inevitable, they're going to come.
We had brownouts last year on Route 58.
And to say infrastructure throughout the United States, Long Island, the state of New York, it needs help, and it's going to require battery storage systems. After that meeting, I had to leave early. I couldn't come up to the podium. I'd like to submit a letter, if I may.
Sure.
And in this letter, in essence, what I'm talking about is all the codes that I reference in that letter, both New York State codes, Chapter 12, international codes, NFPA codes, UL codes. As a matter of fact, I was able to view the meeting from the 20th on TV later on to see some of the other speakers that I missed. There was a young man here by the name of Rogers, Paul Rogers, and I believe you may have mentioned the fact that you were familiar with him. I believe he's one of the most foremost subject matter experts on the subject of lithium-ion batteries, whether it be micro-mobility, laptops, he even works with the FAA. But he mentioned a UL listing that batteries, if they're installed in the state of New York right now, they have to meet that listing, which is very important because it also means they have to go through testing, which is also a part of that listing. And he was also involved in New York City just authorized the installation of a battery storage system in Staten Island in a heavily congested residential neighborhood. That wouldn't have happened unless they met the requirements of that listing and that test. And that test means that individual modules within the system will not, if they go into thermal runaway, will not propagate to other modules in the system. And they will not generate the toxic gases. And, I share the community's concern. I did 31 years in the FDNY protecting the public and, their welfare. So I certainly am sympathetic and in harmony with their concerns. And if they meet all of those requirements, that would mean that, okay, you could take a look at having them installed in this district. The letter also goes on to say, and I introduced myself this morning to the fire marshal. I also went over to the firehouse and introduced myself to the district manager. Whereas, since I'm now a new member of the community, I'd like to offer my services, if you will, not to be pretentious, but to work with, let's say, the chiefs in the fire department to put together a plan wherever a system gets installed, if it's ever installed in the town, to work with them to put together an all-hazard emergency response plan. As a matter of fact, I took a look at the site, 87 Mill Road. And my first suggestion to the fire chief would be, okay, there's a hydrant outside the site if you ever need water. But the hydrant happens to be across the street. And if you ever have to use it, you're going to be connecting to it and stretching a line across Mill Road, basically shutting down the road, and you don't want to do that. So wherever the system is installed, it should have a private hydrant system. If you need water, there should be security. The fencing along the Long Island Railroad to that site right now is breached. So that's an issue. And there also happens to be an issue with, let's say, sabotage to, let's say, substations and things like that around the country. I don't know how you could really protect against that. But I'd like to work with the chiefs, offer my time and assistance, because, you know, I'm part of the neighborhood now. And that's all I've got to say. God bless you.
Contact, Councilman Rothwell.
Please reach out to me with your
Yes.
contact information so we can talk further together.
Outstanding.
All
Chief,
right,
thank you
Your
so
5
much for
minutes
your
is up.
input.
Yes.
God bless.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it very much.
I love the neighborhood.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Okay. Do we have anyone, Chief? All right, thank you, everyone. Very interesting meeting, but we're going to continue supporting the entire community. And this is going to conclude our meeting for today. Can I have a first and a second to close this town board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? So moved. Everyone, please be safe. And once again, Happy New Year.